The science of habit formation, why some habits stick, and most don't. Why is it so easy to check your phone without thinking, but so difficult to build a habit like exercising, reading, or studying? Have you ever promised yourself that this time would be different? You buy a new notebook. Create a plan. Feel excited for a few days. And then somehow, the habit disappears. Most people assume the problem is motivation or discipline. But science suggests something different. The reason some habits stick while others fail has less to do with willpower and more to do with how your brain is designed. In this video, we'll explore how habits form, why your brain loves them, and what research reveals about creating habits that actually last. Why the brain loves habits. Your brain is constantly trying to save energy. Thinking carefully about every decision would be exhausting. Imagine having to consciously decide how to tie your shoes every morning. Or how to drive a familiar route. Or how to make your morning coffee. Life would become incredibly inefficient. To solve this problem, the brain creates shortcuts. When a behavior is repeated often enough, the brain begins to automate it. This allows your conscious mind to focus on new challenges while familiar behaviors run in the background. From an evolutionary perspective, this is incredibly useful. The less mental energy required for routine tasks, the more energy available for survival and problem solving. In short, habits exist because your brain is designed to become efficient. What is a habit? A habit is a behavior that becomes automatic through repetition. Think about brushing your teeth. You probably don't debate whether you should do it. You don't need motivation. You simply do it. That's because the behavior has been repeated so many times that your brain can perform it with very little conscious effort. Researchers estimate that a large portion of our daily actions are habitual. In other words, much of what we do each day isn't the result of deliberate decision-making. It's the result of patterns that have already been programmed into our brains. And that's exactly why habits are so powerful. The habit loop. One of the most influential models in habit research is called the habit loop. It consists of three parts: cue, routine, reward. Let's break it down. The cue is the trigger. It's the signal that tells your brain to begin a behavior. For example, waking up in the morning. Hearing a notification. Feeling bored. Walking into the kitchen. The routine is the behavior itself. Checking your phone. Making coffee. Going for a run. Eating a snack. The reward is the benefit your brain receives. Maybe it's pleasure. Maybe it's relief. Maybe it's entertainment. Maybe it's a sense of accomplishment. Over time, your brain begins linking these three elements together. Cue. Routine. Reward. The stronger the connection becomes, the more automatic the behavior feels. Eventually, the cue alone can trigger the urge to perform the routine. That's when a habit is born. Dopamine and habit formation. This is where dopamine plays an important role. Many people think dopamine is the pleasure chemical. But that's not entirely accurate. Dopamine is heavily involved in motivation and anticipation. When your brain predicts a reward, dopamine levels increase. This encourages you to repeat behaviors that might lead to that reward. That's why social media can feel so addictive. Every notification could be something interesting. Every refresh could reveal something new. Your brain learns to anticipate the reward. And anticipation drives repetition. The same mechanism can work for positive habits as well. The key is creating rewards that your brain learns to value. How habits become automatic. Many people ask, how long does it take to build a habit? You've probably heard the famous number, 21 days. But research doesn't actually support that claim. Studies suggest that habit formation varies widely depending on the behavior and the person. Some habits may become automatic relatively quickly. Others can take months. What's more important than the number of days is the number of repetitions. Every time you perform a behavior, you're strengthening a neural pathway. Think of it like walking through a field. The first time, there's no path. But after walking the same route repeatedly, a clear trail begins to form. Habits work in a similar way. Repetition creates mental pathways that become easier and easier to follow. Why most habits fail. If habit formation is so natural, why do so many habits fail? One major reason is that people rely too heavily on motivation. Motivation feels powerful when it's present. But it's also unpredictable. Some days you'll feel inspired. Other days you won't. If your habit depends on feeling motivated, consistency becomes difficult. Another common mistake is starting too big. People often try to transform their entire lives overnight. They commit to an hour of exercise, a strict diet, a complicated morning routine. The problem is that large changes create large resistance. When resistance becomes too high, the habit collapses. The brain prefers actions that feel manageable. That's why smaller habits often outperform ambitious plans. How to build better habits. Research points to several strategies that can dramatically improve habit formation. First, make the habit obvious. Attach it to an existing routine. For example, after brushing my teeth, I will read 1 page. After making coffee, I will write for 2 minutes. Second, make the habit easy. This is where the 2-minute rule becomes useful. Reduce the behavior until it feels almost impossible to fail. Instead of reading a chapter, read 1 page. Instead of running 5 miles, put on your running shoes. The goal is to master the habit of showing up. Third, make the habit rewarding. Even small rewards help reinforce behavior. Checking off a habit tracker. Recording progress. Celebrating small wins. These signals tell your brain that the behavior is worth repeating. In conclusion, the science of habit formation reveals something important. Lasting change doesn't happen because of motivation. It happens because of repetition. Every habit follows a pattern. Cue. Routine. Reward. The more consistently you repeat that pattern, the more automatic it becomes. And over time, small actions stop feeling like effort. They become part of who you are. So if you're trying to change your life, don't focus on dramatic transformations. Focus on the next repetition. Because habits aren't built in a single day. They're built one action at a time. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to Better by Science for more evidence-based insights into psychology, habits, focus, and productivity. Thanks for watching.